And you got the door, right, Virgil? All right, everyone. It looks like we are live. Hello and good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from. Vicky, you made it. Hello, Anna. Hello, Mikey. Hello and good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Blakely. I'm your host. This is the Monday Mastermind for the Lost Transition. We've been doing this for 5 years now. Every single Monday, I have not missed or skipped a beat. If you're just joining us, you're watching us on YouTube. Feel free to first off like the video, comment, subscribe down below. If you want to join us live, you can go to live.thelosttransition.com. We join here every Monday for a quick little, well, I wouldn't say quick, but an hour long at least, where we gather together and we're specifically talking about sales psychology, marketing, and what we did for the Lost Transition here is we determined the 52 weeks that we were going to discuss each week, one topic related to sales psychology. So we've already now 28 weeks in, if you're paying attention. Goodness, we're already in July. It's my birth month. Yay me, July 19th. I level up to level 57, my friends. Level 57. I'm really excited about that, and I'm really excited about today's topic, just like I always am, because number one, it's Monday. It's one of my favorite days of the week. A lot of people loathe Mondays. I absolutely love Mondays. If you're that type of person that you have to clock in and go to some 9 to 5 that you don't like, I can surely understand why you hate Mondays. But for us in the entrepreneur field, we love Mondays because it's the beginning of our week. We get to start off fresh. This is why we have these meetings, so we give you something that you can think about for throughout the week. What we first off do is we hear from a couple of our members in the audience panel, hear about their wins. Then we're going to have our little topic of discussion. And I'd love to hear some of your takeaways, have a little Monday mastermind. Your feedback is ultimately greatly appreciated, especially at the end of this. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about the topic. Today, of course, is, as I mentioned, is week 28. We're going to talk about I need to talk to my spouse as an objection. Part of why I wanted to put this into the schedule is, I see a lot of gurus or trainers or coaches that are out there. They always talk about here, buy my black book, or I'm not particularly naming names or pointing at anybody, but they want you to register for this or buy this so that they could teach you how to handle objections. Well, one thing that we like to do over here at the Lost Transition is teach you how to not have objections, right? Teach you the proper sales psychology on how to have a really good spirit of communication, if you will, so that you can explain your product and services in such a way that you answer those answers to objection in advance so that they don't come up, right? So we're going to be discussing that today. Is very informational loaded, so you will want to take some notes. I always like to drop some gold nuggets and such. So let's have some fun and let's get the party started. Great to see everybody here. Who would like to start off with some of their wins from last week? Or even if you got any feedback from last week, any of the trainings that we did, anything that you implemented over the course of the last 27 weeks, we'd love to hear about it. Feel free to raise your hand and let's have some fun. Hi, Duran. Glad you made it. Hey, Jorge. Who's got some wins? I know y'all got some wins. Don't make me call you out now. There you go. Good job, Gene. Thanks.
Well, uh, I'm slowly but surely building my empire with Gene Has Concerns, and get more videos out there, shorts and reels, and as well as my long form companion shows. I'm not calling them reviews, calling them companion shows. I'm trying to go above and beyond what a reviewer might do by either researching myself or having ChatGPT research and find additional things that maybe weren't mentioned during a show, like an expedition unknown show or something like that. And hoping to maybe even get some interviews scheduled with guests on those shows, or departments like the DPAA, which is the Department of I can't remember the exact verbiage, it was about POWs and MIAs. And if I can get a hold of the officer, the public relations officer, I'd like to do an interview with them and post it. So things like that. So things are rock and rolling there. Uh, Getting some traction. Yesterday I posted a video and it didn't count as a short on YouTube because it was 4 minutes, over 4 minutes long. And it got one view and that was by me. So last night, late last night, I cut it down to below 3 minutes, which is the threshold for shorts. And boom, this morning had 900 something views. So, so excited about that.
Wow.
Um, but just slowly growing. And I found out early in the week I made 84 cents on YouTube or on Facebook last month. I didn't even know it. And then today I noticed, and I want to share
Yay.
this with everybody because everybody may need to go it. If you go into your dashboard in Facebook and go to monetization, I had a thing there that says submit your interest form to for content monetization. We'll review your interest form and notify you when you're eligible to earn on Facebook through monetization. So I did that. Just had to answer a few questions about what I'm doing. So y'all may want to check that out if you're looking to earn money on Facebook. You might have to do that. And that was again, and I'll tell you exactly where to go. I'm doing it from my phone, the dashboard, and then across the top, monetization, and it was a box that came up there. So
Right. Very nice. Well, congratulations. I saw that post and I jokingly said, yeah, wait till you make your first dollar, right? I had a an AI clone that I posted. What was it? I want to say it was Friday, I think it was. Got like 417 views, and I made a whole 2 cents.
woohoo!
I guess that's Mark Zuckerberg's 2 cents on my AI clone. Well, congratulations either way, Gene. As I mentioned before we started rolling today, I I I may have been that one before you watched it because I know that I'm trying to support your content. Uh, and I have to say that I was thoroughly impressed with the last video that I saw when, I saw something come up. You were talking about it, and then the visual came up. I was like, ah, he took our advice. He listened
Yes,
and
thank you for
took
that.
some action and stuff, man. So it was definitely better. Definitely better, brother.
Yeah, the show I'm recording today, Expedition Unknown, will actually be playing about I forgot how long, 2.5 minute video. So I had ChatGPT make sure to make me a bug to put on it, courtesy of Discovery Channel. So maybe they won't whack me for copyright stuff and
Right,
everything.
right. Fair use act.
Exactly, but better to
Well,
ask for forgiveness than for permission. So,
oh, there you go. Well, kudos to you, brother. Thank you for
well, thank
sharing
you
and
so much.
congratulations on especially having 900 views overnight. That's awesome. Well, Anna, how are you? You have some wins you'd like to share?
Little wins, little wins.
Yeah.
I'm s- I'm starting to see how to do my profile in the lost transition,
Oh, good.
and I post one photo already. It's not with a lot of light, but I did it just to
Okay.
do it. And I'm trying to do the banner.
Okay.
Today I was in the Canva trying to do the banner with that measures, and well, I'm trying to understand how it will work.
Okay.
So I'm seeing the little things to see how it will work.
Good. Well, first off, congratulations for taking the first step and actually taking some kind of action. Want you to know, inside of the Lost Transition, when you're logged in, there's a messenger bubble up there. If you click on that messenger bubble, you'll find me that I've already sent you a message to say hello. And you can actually ask me any questions you have right there in that messenger. And as long as I'm logged in and I see it, then I'll respond to you right away. I also sent you a friend request in Facebook and a message there, but I don't think that you've seen those yet. So definitely, let's connect. And if you have any questions, I'm here to help you along the way. But kudos
Yes,
to you, girl. Congrats.
that
We're
that's my way to see
good.
what is. going on. I don't go there, so I'm trying. I'm
Well,
trying.
we did a great inner circle meeting this Saturday. When and if you're ready to upgrade, there's no pressure at all, but there is a replay that's going to be in there. It's already located in the back
I
office
had
as well.
already upgrade. I
Oh,
had
did you?
already
Oh,
yes, but
this morning?
it's yes,
Oh,
it's
cool. Well,
still
congratulations. I didn't see that.
in my dashboard. I still see free member. It's not changing yet.
Okay, well, definitely do me a favor and send me a message within the lost transition. I'll get you situated for sure. No problem there.
I received from you automations. That's
Okay.
what it do.
Automation?
Automation
Yeah.
automations. You
Okay.
don't know that you send me an email say congratulations. You
No,
are
I
when
did
I
know that, but I didn't see the email saying that you had officially taken the plunge. So congratulations and welcome. Yeah, just message me and we'll get you squared away without a doubt.
okay. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you for being here. Thank you for your trust. Virgil, what you got? You got some wins, brother?
I got a major one. It was just like Anna. She stole my thunder. I was about to say I had my regular wins during out the week, being consistent and it's its own challenge. And at time you feel like discipline is taking the joy out of things that you need to do. But I circled around balancing out my action on my calendar, and I was building on the concept after the inner circle meeting, which was one of my wins. I attended my first inner circle meeting, as
Okay.
always, a powerhouse of conversation. And I was actually jolted into action after that and coming around what I had left on the back burner, the whole IMI conversation and such. So planned out a campaign, a delivery, a process, started rolling it out
Nice.
this morning. And as you can see, so those in the community will notice that I was furiously posting for a few hours in the community and reposting this out to different tracks. I'm reheating a few different pages and tracks that I had across platform, Twitter, LinkedIn, and such, with the same consistent branding. See where that goes. So we're full throttle into that conversation at this point. So that's my win.
I love it. I love it. Well, congrats to you too, man. Yeah, like once you guys see what we built here, I trust it'll resonate with you. And then the other thing, as I mentioned to anybody, like I'm gonna listen to y'all if you see something that you like and don't like or whatever. We need to add this. Well, that's the beauty of this. We can just program it in there. So appreciate you guys being part of the family and love the feedback that I'm getting from you guys. What I did, just as a hint, as I've always said before, right? Video is very important. I know not everybody's going to be into video, and you don't necessarily have to be in the video. But what I did was I prepared my look, try, and book video using an AI clone using HeyGen and an image. And I created those videos to put into those little categories so that now when I send it off, they're going to get a personalized video from me from my AI clone that will say, "Hi, thanks for taking a look." Clicks a button down below, you know. So we've talked about clones before AI clones were even a thing. And in essence, when we talk about clone, we're talking about just a video of yourself, right? Imagine how far that video can go when you go and you replicate yourself. And all you got to do is send that video to somebody every time that thing happens, right? Then you reduce the amount of times that you actually have to go out there and repeat yourself. So there's a little hint for you guys. You might want to think about doing something similar. Thank you for sharing, though, brother. Dr. Lisa, what you got? Got some wins?
I am so thankful for the 12-minute conversation structure.
Okay.
And I'm
You're
uh,
making my day.
in the process of personalizing it for me. Coach Judy and I had a talk this morning,
Nice.
and we've started really digging into the framework for us. And I um, have changed my Calendly
Okay.
to accept appointments every 15 minutes rather than every 30 minutes because I feel so confident about the framework.
I
So,
love that. Oh my God, I love that. Oh, you give me goosebumps. That just made my day, Dr. Lisa. That made my day. Well, thank you for sharing that. Like it, oh man, where do I go from here? You just made my day. My heart is happy. When you get it and you see it and
Well,
it falls into place, it's gonna be like, oh, why was I never taught
you know,
this
a lot of people teach
before?
doing the 12, 15-minute discovery call, but then in practice, they say, it drags out to be an hour and whatnot,
Sure.
or they're just getting started to when someone else's appointment comes up. And also there's this teaching that when we give a free call of any length, we're teaching people that our time is not valuable. But when we are uh, when we limit it, and it is a bonus, a value, a gift to them, but we are not allowing it to drag on to 20, 30, 40 minutes, then
Right.
that's showing, yes, I'm giving you this value out of my um, generosity, but you cannot stomp all over it.
Amen. Amen. That's where you controlling your time is very important. But I wrote something down that I want to echo. A discovery call is not the same thing as a conversation, right? So with what we're teaching, I don't think that I've never heard anybody teach what I teach, and I've heard of discovery calls, but a discovery call isn't the same as a conversation. What we're teaching you within 12 minutes, have a quick conversation, find out whether or not you guys first off jive with each other, and then secondly, is there a solution that you could solve? Right? Getting in and out of the conversation super quickly so you can get on to the next one. Meanwhile, valuing your time and theirs, right? So I love that though. I love that. And thank you for sharing. You made my day. You really, really made my day. Telling you, when you get it, you get it. As I mentioned many times before, when I'm in a conversation with somebody, automatically my timer starts kicking. So I don't need the little timer anymore in the side. I already know. It's like, all right, we're 5 minutes into this conversation. Is it going anywhere? The other reason that I think about this too many times too, from an aspect of like reverse sales, whenever anybody's contacting me, I always think, well, what's their motive, right? So if you can clear somebody's thought of what is their motive and they're open to giving you some time, then you want to be precise on what you do with that time. And if you present yourself properly, then all you need is 12 minutes, right? We can talk later once you're registered and we have time to sit down, maybe drink some coffee, have some dinner, right? Build that relationship even more. Thank you so much for sharing, my friend. Any other wins that you want to share? Anybody? We got a couple more minutes. Go ahead. Go ahead, Rita. Happy to see you.
I'm happy to be seen, and I got to do my dance because
All
you
right.
don't see me in a while doing my dance. Okay, so a couple of things in working with ChatGPT and my stickers. My stickers are a big thing to me because I think they're cute and I think people like them, and it sends a message directly from me instead of using like the little, I don't know what you call them, whatever those are, emojis, I think. So I created my own, and they have evolved with different looks and what have you. However, Oracle is the newest addition, who is my spirit animal, my owl, and you will see him on my shoulder. And Oracle has his own part of the Ritaverse, which is what we're calling it, and that's going. Oracle and I will roll out the Munchkins. So Oracle will be doing the talking for me, and I'll just kind of be in the background, and Oracle will probably be teaching as well. That's the first thing. So I'm really excited about that and what Oracle provides, words of wisdom. So then I saved this the best for the last. So I've been working on that platform that Coach has, and I was so excited because guess what? I got a member. I was so excited. Now, I must tell you, you know how Coach says to respond to people's posts and just, and so she had requested some Legal Shield stuff for somebody else. And so I responded. It didn't turn into anything, which is okay. But I noticed that you find people that are your tribe. And I was peeking in and going, she's pretty funny. I like that. And so I just kind of watched her over time. And we communicated because she lives not too far. She lives in Baltimore, not too far from, DC. So I was like, okay, this is cool. So, we had a little chit chat. This was about a year ago. And just by peeking in and commenting. Now, here's where the rubber hits the road. So when you use Coach's system, you have your emails already populated so that when they join, they automatically get an email with the information in it. And then I went back and had ChatGPT to created 5 different things that you could say. So then I'm kind of like picking and choosing now. I'm going to have to redo, but I kind of like the ones I have because it seems to be working. So if you tweak what you have, maybe there's something else that needs to be in there. You'll find that over time and you tweak it. And then, you know what? It's like putting it on go. All you got to do is just say, hey, how's your day going? Or whatever you want to say, or hi. And I was so excited about that. And I could see how many times they opened the email because, like similar to NowSite, it will send from your email address. And then you can see if the person received it, if they opened it. I also learned that I can only for the desktop program, in case anybody has a tablet, do not try to move people on a tablet. It doesn't always work. It must be done from a desktop at this point, or I'm not sure on the cell phone, but I wouldn't risk it. Stick with the computer because I was moving things and it wasn't moving. And they weren't getting an email. So I was like, okay, let's go to the desktop. So desktop first and foremost, but that was so exciting. It was so easy. And I thank you for the platform because, it does all the work for you. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you for sharing your. Y'all are making me really happy today. I was already excited because it was Monday, but y'all are just making my day. Uh, if you
Sorry,
would
sorry,
pass me a note. What's that?
sorry, Rita. Can you? I didn't understood in what platform which platform had you work on?
The one you just joined.
Lost.
The lost translation.
Yeah.
Translation. Okay. So we can do that also in lost
Yeah.
translation.
Hmm.
Oh, I need to study a lot how it
Give
works.
You want to get with me after this presentation? Give me about 5 or 10 minutes, and you can message me Anna inside the lost transition, and I'll help you. I'll get you all sorted out for sure. We'll make
Okay.
sure that you're dialed in. But thank you for sharing. Rita, if you would also do me that favor and just shoot me a little message either through TLT or Facebook and let me know about that so that I can try to have Claude look at the tablet version.
Okay.
I know I've been trying to do some work with making sure that it's seen properly on the tablet because of you. Uh, but there's still obviously going to be a little bit of coding that I need to do. What I tried to do was make it a flex template that might be above everybody's head grade or pay grade, but simply meaning so that it reads whatever device that person's on. But we're not ready for mobile yet, for sure. But thank you for sharing. I'm glad to know that you're having some success and stuff. And yeah, and we fixed all those other cool things that you had issues with this weekend. So you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm
Have
learning the
fun with it. Let me
system,
know how it goes.
learning the system and the background. And I think if when people understand how when you start using when you understand how it thinks, you'll know how to move, because I was doing things that I thought and it wasn't moving that way. So you and I had a discussion, and then like I couldn't discuss it with Eric Worre because he wasn't available, or Tony Robbins, I'm just saying. So I was able to reach out to you and have that discussion, just like Anna, you'll have a discussion with him. And it if you don't get it just like that, it's okay. When you start, you'll learn from the things that happen along the way, and then when you understand how it thinks, now you know how to roll. So I'm
Amen.
ready to rock and roll. I had fun
Amen.
yesterday.
That's awesome, girl. I don't know if you cut out or not. I didn't hear you the final part of what you were saying though. Thank you for sharing though, Rita. Gene, did you have something you wanted to add real quick?
Yes. Rita reminded me something when she mentioned her stickers and the customized, the
Yes.
memes that are going on behind my head here.
Yes.
I've been doing the same thing with those. Happy birthday wishes have been one of those now. Happy anniversary. Um, uh, some wows and all these different things I've been posting as comments on people's um, uh, postings on Facebook and stuff. So, and then it dawned on me last week, and I talked to ChatGPT about it, and told me how to do it. And I did it yesterday. I signed up with Giphy with a
Okay.
Gene Has Concerns account, and I used my since they're not animated, I used my video editor to make some animations to add on some effects. Like one of them,
There you
like
go.
one of my sayings is what in the blue hell is one of my sayings. So now I got blue flames and made it into a GIF or GIF, whatever you want to call it. And now I've got 8 of them up there now. And then
Yes.
I applied to be a brand uh, to eventually get those to where they will be in Facebook,
Nice.
where you'll be able to do a search. You might be able to search for Gene Angry and move one of my angry ones may come up. So just all part of my branding strategy
Yes.
to do. But people are getting these all the time on their you got some Robert from me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I love them. I mean, I think first off, it's great what you guys are doing, especially expanding on your brand like that because it's instantly noticeable and it's different than what everybody else is doing, right? And then it
Mhm.
just solidifies your image and your brand in their brain. So it's perfect. I love what you guys are doing. Kudos to you, brother. Keep it up,
And I
man.
mean,
And at one point in time, I don't know if you guys remember or not, stating my age, you used to be able to do that on Facebook. You could add like your name and tag it to a specific word. That's why sometimes when you type words in while you're trying to do a post, somebody's name will pop up. We used to be able to do that. Similar to geofencing, maybe, but not. But yeah, they used to have some pretty cool things you could do with Facebook. So kudos to you. I look forward to them coming on there. If and when they do, let us know because I'll definitely use some just for fun.
will do. Thanks.
For sure, brother. All right, well, let's if there's no other wins you guys want to share, we gotta get into these slides real quick. Again, I appreciate you guys coming and enjoying and hanging out with us, spending some time with us. You are truly what makes this Monday Mastermind great. I'm just a facilitator, but it's time to dig into these slides that I want to share with you guys because, as I mentioned at the beginning of this call, we've been doing this now for 5 years, and there's a specific syllabus, if you will, that we've laid out for this particular year, 52 weeks, and we're now into week 28. So if you have been paying attention, like it's already July. Like I don't know if you have set aside what your actual goals are, so that you're able to achieve those or not. I don't know any of that unless you share it with me. But I can tell you a few things, and if you go through all of these things that we've been teaching week one all the way up to where we're at now, you're gonna get a huge, huge scope and a huge, huge advantage over 95% of the population. Okay. Reason I say that is because of what I teach in the inside sales psychology. It's not just like dealing with objections, right? That's part of it. But in this part, we're in phase four of what we like to call conversation mastery. So if you were here with us last week and the week before, we were kind of telling you a little bit, digging deeper into why people actually have the objections, what those common objections were, and the deep rootness or the psychology behind why those even happen, right? Part of the reason why I do this and I teach this is again, if you learn and you understand the sales psychology of human behavior and how it actually works, you're better equipped, if you will, or better suited, better armored, whatever your preference is, to be able to handle those situations, to be able to know how to have the conversation so that you can maybe sway the decision for lack of better terms, or change their methodology, or change the way that they're thinking, or their even their mindset, right? So one of the biggest objections that people get in sales is I need to talk to my spouse. I'm going to speak to you from the heart as always, um, because I truly, truly understand this. And raise your hand if you're married. Anybody in here married? Okay, you'll either agree with what I'm gonna say, or you're gonna be mad at what I'm gonna say, or maybe you'll have some kind of comment or feedback about it. Okay. But handling that, I need to talk to my spouse is something huge in the industry. A lot of people, again, they try to give you answers to objections so that you can say specific things in a way to dissuade them from having to go down that particular path. But the way I want to present this to you is so that you understand how to keep the deal alive, even whenever that decision maker isn't in the room. As I mentioned before, I believe it was last week or the week before, or even both of those weeks. Anytime that I find that a prospect is married, I want to immediately qualify or disqualify them by finding out whether or not they're the decision maker. So we started off at the very beginning, right? We even heard Dr. Lisa talk about how she loves the 12-minute conversation. Even within that 12 minutes, it's important for me to, do a discovery call, if you want to call it that, to find out whether or not that person's the actual decision maker. If I'm spending time on the phone with somebody that's not a decision maker, then that's not necessarily productive business time. Okay? Let me be clear. I'm not saying don't have conversations with your friends for 12 minutes or longer, right? I'm talking about when you're sitting down at your desk, focused on 5 conversations per hour, you want to obviously, if it's not obvious yet, talk to qualified prospects. Okay? How are you going to get to that point? By doing 5 conversations that are maybe not all qualified prospects that you can go and set up into the calendar as a follow up intent so that you start increasing your pipeline and getting what we call compression within the pipeline. If you want your business to blow up, so to speak, as we like to say, and you want people signing up like popcorn, then you have to create this compression that I'm explaining to you. And this was all explained to me by my mentor and coach that I had to spend thousands of dollars with. And I didn't really understand it at the time. Now I just totally get it, especially when you can see what that pipeline is and where people are within that pipeline and how many contacts you're talking to. When you physically see your numbers and you see the data, it's a whole new light. This is something that maybe not everybody's talking about, right? And that's probably why a lot of people fail because they don't have the raw data. They don't know how to read the data. And then again, they don't know where to find the prospects. And then when they have the prospects, what do they say to the prospect? So when they talk to the prospect, what do they say? I need to talk to my spouse. We're going to dig in right now. We're going to teach you all about this. Okay. So let's talk about what the objection actually means. All right, the spouse is rarely the whole story. And again, I'm going to give you my point of view from my education, being married 3 times, uh, right, divorced twice. There is this thing that happens in the family household, right? And I don't know, the best way that I can explain it is it's typically you hear, especially here in the United States, you hear a happy wife, a happy life, right? You guys can relate to that, which is so, so true. Which means that many times in the American household, the woman is typically going to be the decision maker. Okay? Everybody with me? The woman is typically going to be the decision maker. So if you're speaking to somebody that's single, okay, well, you know that that person typically should be the decision maker, unless they got to go talk to their mom or something to make financial situation or, all right. But if they're married, let's bring it down to let's say eight. 8 out of 10 families, the woman would be the decision maker only because of the mindset that the husband needs to keep the wife happy. Okay. Now the other 2% or 20%, that other side of the coin is that the man will make a decision regardless of what the outcome is from his wife, whether it be anger, frustration, or anything like that. The only reason that they're going to make that decision is because they've seen enough value and they want it bad enough. Okay? Meaning, just to put it into plain context, I bought a new cell phone. We got the 16, but I don't have the case for it yet. Well, I need to get a case. I need to get a cover. I need to make sure it's protected. I don't need to go to my wife to ask her if I can buy this, right? But if it's a bigger decision, something that's going to be for the house, let's say it's my gutters. Well, 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to refer and confer, excuse me, with my wife. And although she's not really the decision maker, I'm just including her in the decision so that we're a couple, right? But ultimately, in this household, I'm the decision maker. Okay. I'm part of that 2 or 20%. In other houses, especially if it's multi accounts coming into the house, meaning that the wife and the husband are working together, then in many cases they are both going to be needed for that decision making. So I said all that so that you guys understand before we go into these slides. Don't talk to somebody that's not the decision maker once you understand that the person is married and that other person depends on the spouse to make that final decision. Then you need to immediately change gears, switch lanes, and start talking about that spouse, right? So the stall is I need to talk to my spouse. It often means that I'm not fully sold and it's just a soft way out, right? In essence, an objection, the way we used to teach this, an objection is just like a polite no, right? It's a polite no because you haven't shown the value. Maybe you didn't make a very good first impression. Your strategy when it came to presenting at the very beginning before changing the person's state, right? All of that was probably the difference on whether like, not enough here, not enough trust. Let me find my easy way out. That's what's going on in the mind, right? But then there's sometimes that it's 100% real, right? If they are a genuine partner, as I described earlier, then, they might have to actually speak to their spouse, depending on what the price is, right? That typically is going to be anywhere from $50 or more. But the golden rule is never make them choose between you and their partner. You have to get on the same side as the spouse. We call this also getting on the same side of the fence, right? So you don't want to compete. You don't want to try to sell that person without the other person, the significant other, being in the room. Otherwise, you run the risk of them going back saying, "Hey, look, honey, look what I did," right? And then the spouse saying, "Take it back immediately. Get your money back. That's a scam. This isn't real. That's not gonna work," right? So you want to avoid all of that to get all together. So understanding what it means and how to communicate properly is very important, right? So you can find out whether it's a real objection or a smokescreen, and here's how, right? How to read each one you're facing on the left-hand side there. It's likely real if they are engaged the whole conversation. So if you're having the conversation, you've changed their state, they're listening to the body of your presentation, they're engaged, they say, yes, it makes sense, right? And then at the very end, well, I need to talk to my wife. Odds are that it's real. They really do need to talk to their wife. And that's why I explained that whole story before so that you understand the psychology behind it. So understand it's not a bad thing if they are engaged with the conversation and then at the very end they say, well, I need to speak to my husband or my wife. Okay? That's genuinely real and it happens, right? Maybe it's they name a specific concern, right? Well, we budget big decisions together. Again, going back to what I previously said about that depends on how big that thing is as far as the amount and what they're paying for. Right? Before I mentioned to get into the loss transition monthly is $37. I don't think that that's a lot of money on the American side, But somebody overseas or somebody, as an example, in Canada was the example I used, that's $50 a month for them. So in order for them to justify that, that value has to outweigh whatever that amount is to come in, right? If they can see the value, then there's never going to be an objection about price. Let's be clear. Maybe they ask about the next steps, right? When could we both hop on a call? That's genuine. Now, it's likely to be a smokescreen if it appears like the moment that you talk about your price and that comes out, oh, I need to speak to my wife. That could be the smokescreen. I'm telling you this again so that you can identify as you're going through, you're having these conversations, you're putting them into a category of apple, orange, or coconut, right? And you say something about the price, odds are still, again, you didn't build enough value before even talking about the pricing. You should build enough value, right? Be able to put them into the picture so that they can see how they can win by whatever it is that you're selling, right? But if the moment your price appears, they have to say that, odds are it's a smokescreen. Or maybe they go vague and low energy. They're just like, you know, yeah, kind of understand what you're saying, right? Or they resist a follow-up time. Like, yeah, well, let's follow up with the wife. No, that's not necessary. And I have to tell you too, from my 40 plus years of experience, the last thing that you want to do is waste your time on a half-ass presentation to somebody who's not the decision maker that then says, "Oh, I'll go talk to my wife about it." Right? They're not trained like I am. They're not trained being trained like you guys are. You understand? Right? So what are they going to do? They're going to go back and they're going to be the worst salesperson ever. Hey, honey, I talked to I talked to Gene or I talked to Anna and they were selling such, and automatically what's going to happen? The walls are going to go up for the wife. Not interested. And then what happens? The husband comes back and says, yeah, sorry, Virgil. The wife's not interested. Right? Now we go right back to one of the other common objections, which is not interested. Well, no, no, no. I don't collect interest. I'm not a bank here. What is it that you're not interested in? I don't think you understood it, or maybe I tried to sell you too much. I'm not sure which it is. Right? Fall back, find out what really happened because somewhere along the line you lost that person. Right? Anyway, moving forward. You got to read the energy, in essence, is what I'm getting at. So here's the mistakes that lose the deal, because again, we like to talk about how to create the deal, how to make it happen. But we also want to show you how to not make it happen, because if you're doing some of those things, you'd be like, ah, that's what I'm doing wrong. Maybe you might have that aha moment. And I love the aha moments. Those are my favorite as a coach. Right? So what not to do when you hear it? Just saying okay. Like, okay is not okay, my friend. Well, I need to speak to my wife. Oh, okay. Okay. Sure. Talk it over. Get back to me. You just handed the deal to someone who wasn't even in the room and you lost complete control. You know why I say that? Because somebody else could come back with the exact same product, a better presentation, get them to say yes before you decide to follow up because you suck at follow up. Ouch. Just being real, right? So don't just say okay. You don't want to badmouth the spouse. This is huge, right? Never, ever, ever. Like, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, don't do something stupid like that, right? Any hint of don't let them hold you back makes you the enemy of their marriage. Okay, it's gonna instantly kill whatever trust that you might have built at the beginning of that conversation. Okay, so don't do it. Pressuring for a yes, forcing a decision without the partner breeds resentment and a cancellation the second that they talk. As I mentioned before, right? If you go and you pressure somebody into doing something that they weren't supposed to do and they needed their significant other, yet you pressured them to do it, odds are look for a cancellation, right? Expect it, in fact. Even if you go and you do what I teach you to make them feel good about what they did, odds are you might be able to keep the sale or save the sale, so to speak. But if you pressure for a no, expect them to cancel. Okay. Or at least don't be upset when they do. Right? No follow up locked in. Leaving with let me know instead of scheduled time means the momentum dies before they ever talk. Right? So the first thing I'm going to do, totally. When's the best time to talk to you and the wife together so we can sit down and make a decision together. Right? And if the husband or even the wife, I'm going to tell you, use this to your repertoire if you like. Even if they ever tell me those words that I told you, like, oh well, I'll tell her all about it and see if she wants to meet. I'll say, no, 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 don't do that. And I'm very strict about saying that. And I will tell them almost like having a mini conversation or mini coaching. Last thing I want you to do is go and tell her something that you're unsure about. If you can, just let me know when you're busy, or actually, even better than that, comes off the top of my head. When are you guys available? Right? Maybe next Thursday or Friday. Give them an option to close. Right? Thursday or Friday. What's best for you? Ah, Friday. Cool. What time's best for you? 6 or 7? 6 o'clock. Perfect. I'll see you guys then. Till then, let her know that you can't tell her anything about it. I'm gonna explain everything to you, and then at the end of it, if it makes sense, great. If not, it's okay. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. I've had them surgically removed. Okay. All of that I just did was a complete role play in my head. That's how my mind works. Right. It's automatic. It's instant. Okay. Now, connected to what you already know, the things that we've talked about. The objection is a symptom you've seen before, if you guys were paying attention, especially remember the buying line, week 14? Remember the things that we talked about and how the sale itself is always made emotionally first before there's logic and reasoning, right? And then ultimately, a true buyer is going to find a way. If you build enough value in whatever that product or service is that you're sharing with somebody, they're above the line, they're going to find out how to do it, right? Now the partner becomes somebody that they convince. It's the same thing with me. If somebody was showing me something and I had to go to my wife to get her approval, I'm going to go tell her, babe, babe, you need to see this, right? Can we meet with this guy? Like he's opened up like Thursday at 8 o'clock. Don't think that this doesn't happening, okay? Because it's actual reasoning that actually happens. But raise the emotional temperature before you hand them off to a conversation that you're not going to be in, right? Again, I've said this multiple times. The customer or the presumed customer only knows what you tell them. So if they're about to run off and screw it up by telling the other partner what they don't know what it's all about, can't give the same emotion, value, and feeling, you want to try to stop that from happening. Interject. Let them know you will take care of everything and eliminate that worry that he's going to have or she's going to have, right? But you want to slowly build them both above the buying line together, not just that one person, and then try to build another one above the buying line. Because once you build the person that's actually the person that's in charge above that buying line, that's all you need. Even if the other person is not above the buying line, they're not emotionally connected to it. What matters is the person who's making the buying decision, that person is the one that's above that buying line. Okay. And then we talked a little bit back on week 27 about money objections, right? Which was the close cousin of last week that we talked about. I need to talk to my spouse as often. I don't have the money, just wearing a nicer suit, right? Use the same move to isolate it. If your partner said yes tonight, is this a yes for you? Write that down if you need to. Take a screenshot. This is part of the gold that we share. If you run into that, now you know what to say. Oh, okay, I understand. Hey, so if your partner said yes tonight, is this a yes for you? Yeah, yeah, totally. Cool. What time did she get home? Immediately, I'm asking questions, right? I want you to learn how to ask questions and tell stories, right? Maybe you might even tell a story. Oh, no. Yeah, let me take care of this because last time, I went and I talked to this guy. He said he would go back and talk to his wife and just make it sound absurd, right? As an example, we used to use an objection when people didn't want to, had to talk to their spouses about saving money on their electric bill. We'd say something like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." Like, so if your wife comes home and she flips out because you want to open up all the doors and windows with all the AC on, of course you can cancel. But whatever you do, don't. It just doesn't make any sense, right? That's another tactic that is quite fun to use. Anyway, moving on. Technique 101. Number one, we're gonna isolate the spouse. As I mentioned before, you're not gonna try to talk to the person that is not in charge, right? If your spouse said yes tonight, is this a yes for you? This is what we need to find out. When you find that out, great. Now we gotta find a time to be able to speak to that spouse. Okay, so if they say yes, the spouse is the only thing standing between them and a decision. Now your job is simple. Help them win that conversation at home, right? Because they're already on your side, but you don't want to go and be in the middle of that relationship and then cause any turmoil or tension, right? Which is part of the reason why we teach to make sure you change the state because you don't know what state that person's in when you first start talking to them. Now, if they hesitate, here's the thing that the psychology part that you're learning is if they hesitate, then the spouse was never the issue. And now you know, right? Now what you've done is you've actually, oh, did I tell you that we're also going to be able to tell when people are lying to you? Did I tell you we were going to teach that too? Right? Which is even better because subliminally you'll know and they won't. They'll think, I got away with it. Meanwhile, you're like, he thinks he got away with it. Right? But if they hesitate, the spouse was never the issue. Okay. They aren't sold yet. Don't send them home to sell something that they don't believe in. Got to go back and rebuild the value and the pain first. We've talked about that as well. Right. So, technique number 2 and 3 become the ally. Get on the spouse's side and arm your prospect. Side with the spouse. Hey, make the partner the hero, not the hurdle. So I love that you two decide big things together. That's exactly how it should be. So now what you're doing is you're agreeing with them and you're jumping on their side of the fence. They're feeling, oh, okay, this person's not going to pressure me. Ah, thank God. And instantly you relieve any tension and any pressure that that person might have that you might have even put upon them because of again your communication and how you're actually presenting, right? But the moment you respect the spouse out loud, you stop being a salesperson, right? You're not pushing against the marriage. You become a trusted guide inside of it. Just like, okay, now I want to hear what you have to say because you're being a guide instead of a nuisance. And then secondly, arm them to sell it. Don't send them in empty-handed. Left alone, they'll butcher your pitch. That's what I explained, right? Hopefully I didn't ruin this slide for you. And they'll lead with price. Hey, baby, it's only 25 bucks and this is what they're going to do, blah, 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 blah. Not knowing anything about the body line, not knowing anything about changing the person's state or anything. And then what's going to happen? They're going to say no. Then they're going to come back and say, she said no or he said no, right? So ask them when you tell, you can even ask them, I prefer getting them in a conversation together, right? But you can, if you can't get them in a conversation together, do something like this. When you tell them about this, what do you think they'll want to know first? And then what you're doing is you're testing them to see their knowledge if they actually paid attention to your presentation. Who thinks this is genius? Anybody? Everybody's hand should be up right now. Do you understand? Do you guys truly understand what I'm getting at? No, I didn't lose anybody yet, did I? Okay. Because this is the part that I tell you guys, like Rita, and because I've done this for so long and I know instinctively what to say, I could spot when somebody's lying to me. I could tell whether they're genuine or not. Right? And I even know what they're going to say before they say it, guys. It's like having a crystal ball and seeing the future. Right? When you understand these things and you can guide the conversations a specific way, then the odds of you getting more sales are going to be higher versus you getting a bunch of objections because you don't know how to present yourself. Okay? Technique 4, we've already been discussing this. Get both of them on a call. That's the single most important move that you can make that I've already been discussing with you. Offer a three-way. Hey, why don't we grab 15 minutes with all three of us? I'll answer whatever questions he has. Right? Best case outcome, you're back in control. Remember, we talked about this before. You got to be in control of the conversation. If you're not in control of the conversation, you lose. That doesn't mean that you're going to constantly be talking, right? You have to give and get on that conversation. You have to allow them to speak. It's not steamroll over the person and get the sale, right? But you're still in control of that conversation. That's why all these things that I tell you and teach you, they're so that you have control of the conversation. You know where to steer that conversation or how to steer that conversation. You know, immediately, if you're going to go to business, well, we got to change the person's state, right? If not, then expect a no. You didn't clear the mind first to be able to plant the seed. And then number two, lock the time in now. I mentioned that. Use what we call I don't know who this is. Who's this? David there. Oops, my bad. Use what we call an option close, right? Give them two options only. If you give them more than two options, it's going to automatically cause disinterest in the brain. So what's a better time to for us to all sit down and talk? Maybe we'll jump on a Zoom. Is it better between 6 and 7 or 7 and 8? Meanwhile, what I'm doing is I'm controlling the call by plugging the actual time in that I want to talk to them. If I've got something planned 7 to 8 and I want them to go 8 to 9, I'm going to say, what's the best time to try to talk? 7 or 8 or 8 to 9? The second option is the one that I want them to choose. If they say 7 to 8, let me check real quick. Oh man, I actually have somebody from 7 to 8. Is 8 okay? And then reschedule if you need to. What about 7:30? Get them as close to that time as possible. But lock in the time so that you know, okay, now you know within this hour, guess what? You're having a conversation with a qualified prospect. Remember me talking about that before? Remember we talked about how it goes into the calendar? Remember how I talk about how it builds in the pipeline and creates what you call compression? Then next thing you know, because you've been focusing on those 5 conversations per hour for enough time, now all of a sudden you've got this day that pops up in your calendar. You got 5 people that are qualified that you need to talk to. You better listen to Dr. Lisa when she tells you not to last longer than 12 minutes on that conversation, right? Better stick with the plan. Stick with the plan. You might get 3 or 4 sales in that 1 hour, which is more production than you've ever had in an entire week trying to figure all this out and trying to have a call here, and being all discombobulated, right? Number three, protect the message. I spoke a little bit about this. Got to wrap this up because of time. But a live call means the spouse hears it right from you or me or whoever the person that's presenting, right? Not a watered down secondhand version from somebody that doesn't know how to sell, doesn't know how to fix the range of emotions and all these other things that we're teaching here. So whenever possible, get the decision maker in the room. You can't close a conversation that you're not part of, right? So here's a couple of scripts that'll help keep it alive. This is the a little bit more gold for you guys. Respond with respect and stay in control. Here's a few things of what to say. So respect and isolate. Hey, love that the two of you decide together. If they were on board, are you in? All right, that's a combination of finding out whether or not they're on board and then showing the fact that you respect that they are a decision making a couple together. Offer the call. Hey, what if we give 15 minutes with the three of us so I can answer her questions or his questions? Yeah, we could probably do that. Again, they only know what you tell them. So if you say it at the right time, you say it with the right tonality, like you're the person in charge, you are the guide, because that's what you are. They won't say no, guys. It's very difficult for them to say no. If they say no, then you find out right away that they're not closely associated. Now you just found out, right? Block the time. When are you two usually together and relax? Tonight or tomorrow? There's the option close. I'd prefer tonight because then I don't want to have time for him or her to get with him or her and screw it up for me and explain the process the wrong way or give them the price before they have the value. Right? Next, you dig deeper versus letting it breathe. So dig deeper when they isolate to a clear personal yes, if they'll commit to a follow-up time, or if the interest and energy are real. Dig deeper. Okay. Let it breathe when it's genuine, respectful partnership. We talked about that before, right? So, in other words, no pressure, no digging deep. If it's genuine, then allow it to be genuine. But it's only up to you actually doing the work to find out if that is genuine, right? Like I said, I told even Rita and everyone else, like on Saturday, having the conversations is the one thing that I cannot do for you. I could teach you, I could show you, I can show you exactly how I weave in and out of conversations, get sales all day long with minimum no's, but I cannot have the conversations for you. Okay? That's unfortunately that's going to be your job, right? So if it's genuine, let it breathe. If it's, they isolate, then dig a little deeper. Keep them together, build the relationship, focus on a time for the call, right? But definitely don't push. Here's a couple of objection killers, accepting the soft no. Okay, let me know, right? Let me know. Let me know when you guys are ready. I do a lot of soft no's, but the soft no's, the way that I do it is because I don't beg for anybody's time. Like I don't beg for anybody to join me, whenever you're ready. That's what I always say. And in my mindset, I want them to understand the psychology that I'm not that guy that's going to push you. I'm just that guy that's going to be here whenever you're ready, right? Competing with the spouse, we mentioned that, so we won't dig too deep into that. Leaving without a time, that's a huge no-no. Skipping the isolate, right? Don't let them go home and selling it. No three-way offer. If you don't talk about getting them all three on the phone or a Zoom, then it's a killer. Just kill the deal. Wash your hands now and throw the lead in the trash. Hopefully, you can still be friends, right? Or arming them with nothing. All right, cool. Go tell your wife all about it and let me know. Good luck. See how that works, right? Anyway, I trust at this particular point in value and time, you guys got a ton of value. Raise your hand. Let me know if you did. I'd love to hear your feedback. A couple of questions that you can answer for next week. Hey, think about this. Last time you heard "talk to my spouse," was it real or was it a smokescreen? Now that you've heard what I just laid down, if you picked up what I was throwing down, think about that. Maybe write your isolate question in your own voice. How is your voice going to say whatever that isolate question is? If your spouse said yes, is that a yes from you? And literally write it down and rehearse it, guys. This is part of the whole. When you hear me talk about getting into scripted, I'll get to you in just a second, Dora. When you hear me talk about being scripted, this is what I'm talking about. Be scripted in such a way. Oh, you can keep your hand up so you don't lose your spot. I just wanted to acknowledge I saw you. But anyway, write it down and then say it how you would normally say it and practice. So if your spouse said yes, right? I wouldn't necessarily say spouse, right? So I would say wife. So if your wife or if your husband said yes, is that a yes for you? Say it. If your husband said yes, is that a yes for you? If your husband said yes, is that a yes for you? See how it changed the dialect? See how it changed the tonality? So let me ask you, if your husband said yes, is that a yes for you? Everybody get what I'm saying? Write it down. Say it over and over and over. Find out how it sounds natural to you, and then say it that way multiple times. So then it becomes embedded as a script. So that automatically, when somebody asks you that or it comes up, it automatically comes out. The key thing is burning these things into your brain. I know that sounds painful, but burning them into your brain so that they're natural respondents. Okay? And then what's your go-to line to offer a three-way call without sounding pushy? I'd love to hear any of those before next week. Duran, go ahead. What are your takeaways, my friend?
Well, actually, I have a question. I know
Sure, I can.
I have to go real quick, but
Okay.
I was wondering, you mentioned well, first of all, I want to make a comment. Really good stuff.
Good.
The
Appreciate
in the industry, when people have that objection, it's usually that the experts kind of like make a sarcastic response and makes the guy sound like a simp or or you know
it. Love
something
that
like that
choice of
like
words.
yeah, like, well, if you this drastic thing, like you said with the electricity, if they come in and the electricity is out and you can't afford to pay
Right.
it, did you really need to have permission?
Right.
They
How
always
stupid are
come.
you, in essence?
Right.
Right.
And so that puts their guard even more up and puts their confidence lower. So I appreciate your combat for that. But you also said, you can't control the conversation you're not a part of when it comes to following up. The industry suggests that you do a three-way call with the expert. So would that be the time when you're following up with the spouse to introduce the expert, or wait because you hadn't introduced them before? Would you when the spouse is together, is that the time to introduce the third party expert?
So we're almost talking about two things, but so that we correlate them together and make sure that I
Hmm.
understand you properly. If I'm making an outreach and I'm connecting somebody to them, then yes, I'm going to say something like, "Hey, I've got this person or whatnot." I want to qualify that person right away, obviously, so you don't waste your time. So I can say something like, "When it comes to such and such, is this something that you and your wife kind of make the decisions together?" Right? And if you're in person, here's where the body language comes in because I don't mean to chuckle at this, but it's funny because of how it all works out. But if you're doing this and in public, you're typically going to want to say yes to get them to say yes because on the back end you have an answer to that objection, right? But if I'm in public and I want them to get to say yes because I already know they're going to say yes, then I'm going to do the body language and shaking my head yes if I'm in person with them or even on camera. If I want them to say no, I'm going to shake my head no. This is important to understand, especially in the context of being like in this environment, right? You see what I do there? Like that, right? So ultimately, I want to find out at the very beginning, are they the decision maker? If they are, great, I can proceed with that conversation. If on that conversation it doesn't lead to a sale, and then I've got to speak to the significant other for one reason or another, then that's where that book on the lost transition is going to come into play, to where you need to book more time. So if that book requires you connecting another person because you're not the professional and you're trying to have a three-way conversation with the professional, then yes, you would do it that way. But one thing that I want to explain to you guys, and I've mentioned this before, you don't have to be the person that's in charge or closing the sale, right? Like, if I correct in what I'm assuming, I hate to assume, but perhaps you're the person that's connecting them with the person that's actually doing the closing or the sales, right? So in that case, you're not going to want to be that husband or wife that's going to go over there and try to tell them about it because you don't know enough and you're going to ruin it. So all your job is to do is just get that person excited, find out whether or not that they have a significant other and whether or not they make the decisions with that significant other. If they do,
Yeah.
then immediately, great. I'd love to set up a three-way call with you and the wife and also so and so that we can explain this to you so we can see how you could take advantage of it. What time is best for
Yeah.
you? When do you guys normally get together?
That's awesome. Yeah, it reminds me of back in the day when I was an army recruiter. I was the one that got him through the door, got him excited, but I always use someone else as the closer.
Sure.
Just because it's hard to shift from buddy buddy to going, sometimes, and that was a harder sell than maybe a $15, $30, $50 a month
Yeah.
agreement.
Well, yeah, because you're talking about having signed up, signed away their life for something, right?
Right. That's a
But
little
again,
harder sell.
it's still going to come down to the trust factor. How much trust did you build in that person to be able to say, "Yeah, I will give my life and for my country," right?
Right. Right.
Not everybody that's walking through the door is going to want that, obviously, right? Especially if they're not the ones that are seeking you out. Again, it's the same philosophy that I look at. If you're out there as an army recruiter and you're just talking to people on the streets, hey, well, what do you think about the army? It's not going to potentially work, right? You want the commercials to do the job for you so that those people walk into the recruiting station, then you know you've got that hot lead. That's the same thing, same concept, right? So, yeah, great question though. I trust that helped.
Thank you.
Thanks for the feedback too. Virgil, what you got, brother?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Well, there's so much to take away from this course, and it's also highlighting some foundational things that we should always keep in mind, right? Because, for example, the first thing that came in mind when we started this was, okay, well, product knowledge and client screening, right? Because if I'm offering a household product, I know that I need to speak to the head of the household, and that's going to be the opening question. Who's the decision maker in the household? Because this product concerns the whole household. Even taking it deeper, um, uh, the, uh, the conversation that we're having also has only occurs when we haven't respected the buying line, right? Because this is an objection. Or, or depending on the perspective and the conversation that we just had, it's actually the first leg into the purchase in the closing argument, right? Because, for example, if I'm offering a household product, I expect the decision to be made as a household, even if I'm speaking to the decision maker, because they will both share that with their spouse one way or another. And the 2080 for me is so relevant because in the end, we're going to the decision maker, to the authority, right? And keep this in mind. If I have to bring something to the person of value, the authority in the value, it's because I trust in what I discovered, right? So you mean that you had a conversation with me. There was so much value in what I heard that I said, you know what? I got to talk to my wife, my spouse about it. I got to talk to my better half about it because we're going to have to close on this together, right? So this is actually you are considering that the person saying this is not an objection; it's a buy-in,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Instead of even saying, since you are about to talk about it to your spouse, it means that you're on board. Perfect. Let's set up everything. Let me bring my third voice. You bring her in. And if you need any of it in conversation in between, let me know I am available. Right? So it's really a matter of perspective. But before it comes with that, if you
Yep.
know your product and you have screened properly your audience, going into that conversation, you know if you're looking at a at a getaway conversation, a small screen, because if I'm talking to you about a product that only concerns you and you want to bring it up to your spouse, it means that there's a small screen happening here, right? And also, it also means that I didn't respect the buying line, right? Technique 3 and technique 4 are for me the winner because I'm making you an ally. If you're telling me, well, you have to speak to your spouse perfectly, means that you're all in already. Let's get together, build the process so that we can bring her in. And if I need even, or even bring an expert, the person, if she's the one that is very technical, right? So it's really the perspective, it's really active listening, and it's also respecting the conversation that brings you to the offer, right? Somebody crossed that buying line sooner than expected if that conversation came in. I wanted to cut the conversation short. Okay, how much is it? Okay, I gotta talk to my spouse. We'll talk about it later.
Mhm.
Or you timed up the conversation, but made the offer before the client was ready to receive it. So safe zone,
Yeah.
right? So
I
there's so
love
much that here.
I love it. And you guys are really making my day today, especially these takeaways, man. When you guys get it, I'm telling you, Like it's a whole different world you will be living in. You'll be like Neo in the Matrix, man. Let me know when you hit that spot. Gene, Gene, go ahead, brother. Thank you for sharing,
I
Virgil.
I just wanted to make an observation that the spouse isn't always the spouse. It can
True.
be a business partner, it can
True.
be the office manager, it can be the
100%.
gatekeeper. And all these things that you're teaching us work on business to business sales also.
Amen.
And
Good point.
and the same things. And what's funny is what you're teaching, things I learned back in 1986 when I attempted to sell vacuum cleaners. I wasn't good at it back then. Was,
A
oh, I got to
clan.
talk to my husband, and it'd be like, well, let's get him on the phone. And
Yeah.
I made one sale by doing that back
Amen.
then.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you're that simple. Let's get him on the phone, and
Yeah.
she talked to him, and I didn't have to talk to him. She talked to him and told him that it was $995 back then with the Kirby, and
You
and
know, point taken, Gene, and I gotta mention this. Gene just said it. He made a sale on the phone. When you know and understand how to communicate the way that I'm teaching you, you could do it in person. You could do it on a Zoom. You could do it over the phone. Like I'm
Mhm.
pretty damn good over the phone as well. I did telesales. To me,
Well,
again, when I think about the telesales and why I teach the way I did from all these years of experience, it goes back to my core philosophy of a sale is nothing more than transferring that emotion. You can transfer that emotion right over the phone, especially when you understand tonality, dialect, slowing down the process, right? Natural pauses, all these things that are basic communication that we don't learn anymore. We're not learning these things. In fact, we're forgetting how to have a basic dadgum conversation with people. But anyway,
well,
great point,
and
Virgil.
thank you. And I was there with her and demonstrated it to her, and she got him on the phone, and I didn't even speak to him. I had
Perfect.
her so excited about it. She said, it does this, it does that, it does this, and I know it's $995, but it's only $29 a month.
Right.
Sold. She
Yeah.
sold it to
And
me.
she is the decision maker that's selling her husband that is there to make his wife happy so that he doesn't have a miserable life.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, but
Totally
going back to the
100%.
business to business, all this stuff can relate back to that. So, like Doria, when she's looking for maybe sponsors for what they're doing, for an event or something like that. Sometimes you walk in and, well, that you got to talk to, or we got to talk to my office manager or something because she
Sure.
controls the money. Well,
Right.
where is she?
Right.
So,
Let's beat down her door. And I've got friends of mine personally that's what we would do. We would make funny commentary like that. Let's go beat her door down.
hmm
And all of that helps. Like that helps to change the state. That helps to put you on their side of the fence. Like, and we're gonna do this together. And you make it like a game. Like people are all into that. You won't truly understand exactly what I'm talking about until you've experienced it, like what Gene is explaining. Right? When you experience it, then you'll know, like, that's what he was talking about. So anyway, this week the challenge is next time you hear I need to talk to my spouse, don't just say okay. Okay, first off, let's isolate it. Say, hey, if they said yes tonight, is this a yes for you? Or if your husband said yes, is this a yes for you? However, it's going to sound best for you. And then make sure you tune in next week for week 29. We're going to dig in a little bit deeper, guys, on that level one listening, but we're going to talk about listening to close, why the best closers talk less, and how real listening does the selling for you. So you're not fighting the spouse, you're helping a prospect win them over, my friends. I trust that you guys got some value. Don't forget also, tomorrow is How To Tuesday, right, Virgil? Got How To Tuesday tomorrow with Virgil and myself as a co host. We will see you there. Go out today, kick ass, take names, and we will see you next time. Toot toot. Love you. Bye bye.